Man, so why can't I keep up with that guy or that gal? Hey guys, it's Dr. Eric, the fitness physician. Just a quick, short little video today talking about androgen receptors, right? I hear this a lot where guys will complain, or even women too, but definitely guys will be like, man, I lift hard, I eat right, keeping up all the new training stuff and just having a hard time building that muscle, right? Some I see some guys in the gym don't seem to be doing as much. They pack on muscle easily, and I can't. What's going on? Do they have different muscle fibers? I do more testosterone, secret training programs. Well, not really. Sometimes it comes down to metabolism, genetics, and of course muscle receptors and androgen receptors. So when it comes to testosterone and building muscle, body composition, overall health, there's a lot more to this. So sometimes it's not so much what you have floating around your system, i.e. testosterone, it's how well it's getting into the cells, meaning the androgen receptors. Most people are familiar with like the lock and key analogy, right? Where hormones or the little key floating through the blood, and they have to dock to a receptor, to a keyhole, right? To turn the lock. So androgens are a type of steroid molecules. They have to actually attach to a receptor, and then the signal is transduced inside the cell into the nucleus, and it affects the genetic, the DNA, and other proteins and enzymes inside the cell. It's a lot more complex than that. It's a very simple analogy. Androgen receptors are what the testosterone and other androgens attached to work their magic. And there's more to it. And what we're finding out, there's other transmitting molecules, sexual hormone binding globulin is very important. Heat shock proteins are very important for transmitting the signal into the cytoplasm, meaning the fluid between the inside the cell before it gets to the nucleus. And there's a lot more to that. So, and again, these are the little ignition switches when they turned on by the androgens, testosterone, dihydrotestosterone, other hormones that initiate the process that leads to the production of other proteins, like the building blocks of tissues. And in this case, what we're talking about is muscle. So there's a lot of studies on this that have been done. They found that, again, these receptors are one of the most important determinants in the effect of testosterone. So if you don't have good androgen receptors, they're not very receptive. You can have all the testosterone in the world. You could be taking testosterone, and it's not going to work. They have to get in. It's kind of like with thyroid or with insulin. People hear about insulin resistance. You can have all the insulin floating around, but if it's not getting into the cell, it's not doing its thing. Same with thyroid hormones. You can have all the thyroid hormones. The thyroid hormones in the lab panel can be normal, but if they're not getting into the cell, they're not working. So if my patients, I see this a lot where patients are having symptoms of a deficiency and their blood work is quote unquote normal. Well, it's not getting into the cell. Why is that? Well, it can be a lot of reasons, things like toxins, micronutrient deficiencies, genetic issues, poor diet, stress, excessive, levels of cortisol, inflammation, from lifestyle, from lack of sleep, from toxins, from infections. So there's so many things that can affect this. In this case, when it comes to androgen receptors, again, we want enough of them, what we call density. How many of them do you have per cell, and how receptive are they? How well are they working? So anyway, so a lot of these studies have found that a lot of these things that has to do with what they found on these receptors. So, and this can change. And how do you improve your androgen receptors? That's everybody's like, dude, tell me what's going on. So that's the thing, is like there are ways to improve your androgen receptor content and therefore affect your effects of androgens on your cells. So what this means is that, again, if you're a quote unquote hard gainer, this might be one of the reasons you need to improve your androgen receptor density or sensitivity. And again, this is the basics, right? As with thyroid and everything else, you want to clean up your system, get rid of any toxins. Might do a regular, detoxification, make sure your liver's healthy, eating food supplements that are supportive for liver health, clean organic foods, using infrared sauna, getting adequate sleep, which is the ultimate detox, right? Eating clean food, avoiding toxins, avoiding glyphosate, avoiding processed foods, excess sugar, seed oils, all these things that can cause inflammation in the body, right? Sleep is massively important. Making sure, again, liver, you're eating, a whole food diet, fermented foods. Might want to be taking things like NAC, glycine, taurine. These things all very helpful for the liver. And of course, we're going to talk about other things too in terms of other lifestyle factors. So intermittent fasting is one that's, of course, all the rage for many, many years now, but this can actually improve androgen receptors. So, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could be like a 16-8 or even just 14, 15 hours of fasting a day. Of course, it's going to have other benefits in terms, especially if you're trying to lose weight, burn some visceral fat. But some intermittent fasting has been intermittently has been shown to actually improve androgen receptors as well. So there's one study that basically, looked at this too back in 2016, showed that 8 weeks of the 16-8 intermittent fasting it actually increased the sensitivity of the androgen receptor. So it can be a very benefit. And 16-8 is not that hard to do, right? Obviously, when doing some resistance training, of course, it's going to boost the number of active androgen receptors in the body. Sprinting, other types of aerobic exercise can affect your body's response to exercise and can improve androgen receptor density and sensitivity as well. Again, you don't want to overdo it. If you're doing too much, especially endurance or way too much, This can increase stress, overtraining, excess cortisol. This can have a bad effect. So you want to recover, right, and balance this out. Heat, infrared sauna, I mentioned this earlier. Heat shock proteins have a lot of benefits on the body. This is why we talk about it, general. But actually, one of the studies showed that actually, again, heat shock proteins are actually one of the proteins that channel and basically enable these androgens once they're inside the cell to get to where they need to go in lieu of the androgen receptor. So this can be very beneficial. So infrared sauna usage and heat can actually benefit heat shock proteins, and it has all the other benefits of sauna like detoxification, healing, recovery, but it can improve androgen receptor sensitivity and receptivity as well. Some nutrients that are beneficial. Vitamin D is very important as well. It works as a steroid hormone and as a vitamin because it works with the endocrine system, has receptors everywhere throughout the body, does a million things, right? But it's also associated with the beneficial effects on the effect of testosterone, the androgen receptor. And again, it can affect testosterone levels in and of itself, as well as the androgen receptor. So if you have a vitamin D deficiency, this can affect both your abilities, your body's production of testosterone, as well as its effect on the androgen receptor. L-carnitine or carnitine is an amino acid. It's essential for burning fat, turning it into cellular energy. Has a lot of things in terms of improving mitochondrial function, its ability to burn fatty acids, has a lot of other beneficial effects on the body as well, which I'll talk about in future videos. But some studies have shown they can boost androgen receptors and their sensitivity as well. So supplementing with L-carnitine might be beneficial if you have a deficiency. Now, if you're eating plenty of meat, plenty of foods that are L-carnitine rich or carnitine rich, you may not need this. But if you're not eating as much, or eating more plant-based, or you have a deficiency, then this might be a benefit. Adequate protein, of course, is important because this can improve the building blocks for production not only of testosterone and other androgens, but androgen receptors. They need to be made by two. So you can make sure you're getting adequate protein and amino acids in your diet on a regular basis. Forskolin is another supplement that's been studied a little bit, can upregulate androgen receptor expression and density in the muscle, and increase the level of cyclic AMP in the cells, which can activates an enzyme called adenylate cyclase, which can lead to changes in gene expression that can lead to the upregulation of the androgen receptor expression as well. For me, if you like me, you like spicy food, you like hot food, spicy foods is cool too because capsaicin, the active ingredient, can actually has been shown to increase the cell viability and androgen receptors and making them more sensitive as well. It acts on a little enzyme called TRPV1. Excuse me, and these can actually affect the androgen receptor as well. Caffeine has also been shown to help androgen receptors, again, through the cyclic AMP process, and can enhance their binding of other androgens like DHT and testosterone to the receptors. And then, of course, you want to get rid of anti-androgenic foods and contaminants, spices, toxins, other things that can adversely affect not only hormones, but also the receptors, all the receptors for all hormones, things like BPA and phthalates found in plastics, pesticides, excessive doses of soy. And then you have to be careful. There's been some studies talking about excessive levels of other things like quercetin and EGCG. You have to take a pretty big dose, but I think they have a lot of health benefits. And again, if you're doing these intermittently and rotating them in and out, I don't think that's a big deal, but just be careful of overdoing any supplement. Rotation strategy is key. Biggest things are, of course, toxins. Like I said, the pesticides, plastics, excessive dose of NSAIDs like ibuprofen, excessive PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids, excessive soy products, and any other, processed foods, a lot of the artificial flavorings, all these things can affect this as well. So there you go. There's a nice little rundown of things you can do to increase your androgen receptors, improve your ability to do this. One little, also a pearl too, and if you're anything you're doing to increase testosterone, if you're taking testosterone, actually, unlike other hormones, can actually improve receptor sensitivity as well. So if you have a deficiency, make sure you get that addressed. Work with a physician like myself or someone who knows, a trained clinician who can work with you to help you do this the right way. And in this case, more is not always better, but can be beneficial. So I hope you enjoyed this video. There's some little tips and pearls, some things I learned even when researching this myself, especially about heat shock proteins, was very interesting. Easy things I recommend anyway for overall health, but this another advantage of improving your androgen receptors, and therefore this might be the missing piece as to why you're taking androgens and it's just not working. You might need to improve your androgen receptors. So this applies to men and women, by the way, but I know a lot of my guys talk about this as well. So if you have any questions, please reach out, DM me below, like and share this post. And if you have any questions, anything else you want to learn about, check me out on my Relentless Vitality podcast, drericprimax.com. I'm doing telemedicine all across the country. Got a lot of free products, my own unique protein blends and products that have some unique products in them, unique ingredients. So check it out on my shop page. And I got a ton of free videos on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. So please check it out. Everybody have an awesome day, and we'll talk to you soon.